you're up to? You've probably infected thousands of people already.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today will be the last day in our aseptic week of learning how to properly sterilize ourselves when coming in and out of public in these trying times. I think today's lesson is actually going to be one that will probably share the most information with you that you've never heard before, or refresh your memory on some of these things. Today, I would like to talk to you about coughing and sneezing. Yep, that's what this is all about. That's what started this whole thing, pretty much. That's what's got our attention in the last 60 days. It all circles around coughing and sneezing. There are about 8 main topics that lead to either sterilization or propagation, which is the spread of diseases, or multiplication, the spread of them. So I think today we'll talk about some of these things right here that everybody's hoarding. I got plenty of. Rini buys in monstrous bulk for a year at a time to begin with. So, lucky me. Anyway, let's discuss what's going on right now and these products and items I have here for our assistance in cleansing ourselves when we cough and sneeze. I think to start this discussion, it would be good to show you exactly how far a cough or a sneeze can actually travel. Check this out.
Discovered that the biggest droplets can travel up to 2 meters, about the distance between your desk and 2 desks away. But most other droplets, those travel much farther, up to 8 meters. That's about 5 desks away.
Pretty interesting, right? I mean, given a chance, the amount of distance it can travel is very impressive. Coupled to that, this information on how much you spew when you actually cough is going to scare the wits out of you. Think about this every time the person next to you sneezes or coughs into the air. This is how much fluid is being put out there.
Normally you hold about ½ liter of fluid in your lungs. So when you sneeze, you're able to spray as much as a water bottle's worth of mucus into the air around you.
And then the other thing we have to consider is when you cough and sneeze, you're taking something that you've internalized and re-atomizing it and sending it back into the atmosphere. And it actually turns into this.
Form of moist, germ-infested clouds, traveling up to 35 meters per second.
So now we have some information which is very powerful in learning anything. The quality and the amount of information you receive will really tell how much you become educated, and will also make the difference in what you will be able to do. So we've learned a few things, right? Let's go over it. We've learned how far it can travel. We learned how much we spew in just a basic cough. And we've learned what it transforms and mutates into once it leaves your body. Gross, isn't it? Now we have to think about, how does it get around? What facilitates the spread of these viruses, these diseases? I mean, we know the distance is not miles, is not even, rooms. So what's going on? How is it that, Florence down in accounting got a cold, and now, my partner, Ted, has a cold too, and he doesn't even know Florence and he's never been to accounting. I think if you watch this next clip, it's going to help explain how something as simple as a sneeze that goes unprotected, because we should protect our sneezes, right? We learned when we were real little, we should cover our mouth. This is not a good idea. Coughing into your bent arm is the best way. If you have a handkerchief, you want to cough into that. Problem is, like we learned in earlier videos, this will become contaminated the more we cough into it. So the more we put it to our face, not a good choice. Anyway, let's see how our friend gets around.
The germ-infested gas cloud is less dense than the air around it, so it rises upwards, right to where ventilation systems and other people's unsuspecting noses and mouths await.
Fascinating, right? Now you see why it's so critical that you somehow cover up, whether you use a paper towel, not the best idea, handkerchief, definitely the best idea, disposable Kleenex type items, toss and gone. It doesn't take much. Ventilation systems today are extraordinarily good. If you know you work in a building where it becomes ice cold or burning hot because the central heat and air works like an overtime, this is what they were talking about. That is exactly how these type of viruses get around. They're very smart. You know, don't think just because they don't have mouths to speak back, they don't think. They use whatever's at their disposal, right? They're riding on the air using the AC to go from floor to floor and room to room. And you would think that it's cold enough in your office to kill them, but it's absolutely not. It takes a lot colder environment than what your office or store or house is probably set at. The colder the better, no doubt about it. But the next thing we want to concentrate on is the spread, right? How do these things begin to spread? Let's take a look at this.
Like the flu virus. Even worse, depending on the ventilation, they can spread through a room in just a few seconds.
Bet you never thought of that, huh? Unbelievable. I think learning how these viruses spread, multiply, move about, this type of education helps fight all the misinformation you run into, either online or hearing from friends. Again, like I've said throughout this entire series, all this information is available on the CDC website. They'll tell you exactly how things spread, what's the best way to prevent it. Of course, when we know that using high-grade HEPA filters will definitely contain a lot of the spread, but not all of it. So, and I'll be honest with you, in my own personal office, they replace the filters every month, and as soon as they do, I replace it with my own, because they use the very low-grade consumer cheap filter, and I have massive allergies to begin with. Cheap as far as the cheapest HEPA filter, I buy the highest quality HEPA filter. So in your home right now with this mystery illness traveling around and not much known about it, I would replace your home, if you have central heat and air, I would replace your home filters. Take the crunch, take the bite as they say this one time, and buy a very high grade HEPA filter. I just spent $30 on the big return and $15 each on the little ones, when I usually only spend, half of that. So it definitely pays, it's definitely worth it. We know how it spreads, we know how it multiplies. So it's our duty to try to minimize that so we can, at least keep at a minimum what's going on in the environment. At least we can, do our part in trying to stop the spread. Now, the next thing we might learn about would be how long it lasts. How long in our environment does this airborne funk, mutated mist that we put in the air actually last, right? Everyone always has that question. Well, our little germy buddy's gonna tell us. Check him out.
And remain suspended for up to 10 minutes.
Way longer than you thought, right? Let me know in those comments down below, what was your guess before you just heard? How long did you think it lasts? I know most people I talked to had no idea there was even a lifetime of how long it lasts. They figured if they didn't cough or sneeze directly into your mouth or eyes that, it's over, it's gone. But that is not the case at all whatsoever, right? Because actually, it doesn't go away. It wants to find a home. Like everything, it wants a place to live. It's looking for a way to survive. Like we've discussed earlier. Not dumb, right? It's a thing from inside you. Give it some credit. It's alive. It's a living thing that's trying to survive. It's looking for a host to live in. It's looking for cells to eat and mutate. It's on the hunt, and you are its prey, right? So what should you do? How can you outsmart something you can't even see? Well, a very big part of it is avoiding certain surfaces. You see, after it's airborne, it's like any good hunter. It's looking for a place to hunker down. It's looking for somewhere to hide where it can catch you by surprise. So there are various surfaces that we come into contact with every day that are the perfect home. Listen to what our little friend has to say about that, and then we'll pick it up afterwards.
Especially on surfaces like desks, doorknobs, and steel handrails. It turns out the flu virus has been found to survive for 24 hours on a steel surface. And if you touch that surface and don't wash your hands before eating, you may have just gotten infected.
So, don't see a doorknob and a handle the same anymore, huh? Never gonna look at your car door or your office door or the elevator or the push buttons the same as you used to, simply because, those type of metal, plastic surfaces that are non-porous are the breeding ground for E. coli, the flu, the common cold, any type of bacteria or virus. It's going to live its life on some vulnerable surface that it hopes you come in contact with. I think we should go over a few of the things that are the most deadly. Elevator buttons, number one. Like I told you, paper towel, elbow, pencil, something, glasses. I mean, probably not because you're going to put them back on your face. But, if you know you're not, you could use your glasses and then clean them really good afterwards. But try to find something. I'll use the inside of my own shirt sleeve, put my finger in, press the button. Same thing with handles. I usually have long sleeve shirts, but we've been working so many hours and it's just a little bit uncomfortable right now. I've been wearing short sleeve shirts. Bad me. But find something to avoid touching surfaces. If you don't need to hold the handrail going down the stairs, don't. It's good for the lower abs. Build it up, slow and steady. Don't hold on to the escalator rail. Try to just center yourself when you get on and, keep your center of gravity. Watch where you're going and should be fine. If you do have to grab the handrail, then trust the old paper towel from Pocket. Use it on handrail. Dispose of it at the top. I mean, even folding it inside out, you may forget which side you're using, and at that point, it became irrelevant. You're going to reinfect yourself. Another thing that we want to pay attention to is, even though we now know we're washing our hands at an extra, call it code red level, we want to avoid touching our face. What makes us vulnerable to these diseases is once we pick them up from a surface like a handrail, if we go and touch our eye or pick our nose, I know it's gross, I know nobody does it, but for some reason sinus infections happen and diseases are found in the nose, and we're actually testing for that new one in the nose because it's most prevalent in your sinus cells. So, picking your nose, licking your finger to open a bag is a real common one. I see it all the time at Walmart and the supermarket. You want to use those plastic bags to double wrap your meat, and usually the first thing people do is lick a finger and open it. Man, you don't know who touched them bags before you. You don't know what sick person's been coughing right on top of a stack of bags. And who knows what you got. You lick your finger, you touch the roll, you pull yours off, you leave your mutated stuff behind. Very bad for everyone involved. Just going to make you getting better take way longer. Because as you get better, if you've infected everyone in your neighborhood, you really run the risk of being reinfected. Let me point out that a lot of viruses, even though you get cured and become clear of them, you can re-get them in a very short period of time, within a week, within 2 weeks. You can re-get the flu, you can re-get most viruses. So keeping others around you healthy only keeps you healthy as well, all right? So you gotta think about it. You don't wanna lick your fingers, you don't want them in your mouth, your ear, your nose, anywhere around your eyes. All those entry points to blood vessels, leak it back into your system. This is how you become infected. Last thing I want to talk about is, unfortunately, if you do become ill and sick, you should isolate yourself from your family members and loved ones. You should take off from work and explain to your boss, as much as you would love to be there and you know he depends on you, it's just not good for everyone involved right now. As soon as you get an all clear from your physician, you'll be in and more than happy to make up your time. At least you can tell them that, right? Sleep in a separate room, even if it means the couch. Flip a coin, see who gets the bed. I usually give the unsick person the bed. I like being on the couch and isolated whenever I'm sick, because just I can get cozy and, you know, deep within myself, heal myself. So isolate yourself. Do your friends and families and loved ones a favor. It sucks. You're going to probably be uncomfortable, but you're sick and uncomfortable anyway, right? So why should everybody be miserable? Well, I hope this series has helped you learn a little more about aseptic practices, fancy term for keeping clean and sterile.
Stop the spread of germs that can make you and others sick. Cover your nose and mouth with a tissue when you cough or sneeze. If you don't have a tissue, use your elbow. Wash hands often, especially after coughing or sneezing into a tissue.
But you know, for me, the most important thing is to hear from you guys. Let me know if there's something I missed. Let me know if there's an awesome hack that you have for, you know, punching buttons or staying clean or washing your hands or covering up for a cough or avoiding contact with people but getting things done. Put them in those comments down below. I really love to hear from you guys. I really like reading them. Unfortunately, I don't answer them all. I answer as many as I can, but it's been really super busy for me right now. I've barely been home. Me and Rini haven't been out in weeks, but you know, when there's an emergency, you got to answer that call. You got to do what's expected of you, especially if you choose a career that happens to be impacted by such things. But y'all know how we do it on this channel. Comment, like, subscribe. Love ya. Hope y'all stay safe and healthy. Wash your hands a lot. Avoid contact. Don't go to big public gatherings. Stay at home, buy a board game, hang out for a while. Watch my entire collection of videos. Click on them one at a time. They're long, some are boring, some are funny, some are great. Let me know. Put your comments, thumb up, thumb down. I can take it. Love ya. See y'all in the next one. And don't be scared. This is going to end soon.